The coroner's office is to determine cause and manner of death on every death in the county, and that's our goal. 3,100 people died in 2015 in this county. We handled almost 1,600 of those cases in one form or fashion. If a person hasn't been seen by a doctor in the last 20 days, doesn't appear to be a natural death, and there's not a doctor willing to sign their death certificate, we will do the investigation and we will either give it a cause of death or convince a doctor that they are able to sign based on the medical records and the investigation we conduct. We do about 120 to 140 autopsies a year. All homicides get autopsied. All possible SIDS cases or SIDS cases get autopsied. Any suspicious death where we cannot determine a cause of death is going to get autopsied. Males, if you're 50 and under and you've died and we don't have medical records to show us why you should be dead, then you're probably going to get an autopsy. Females, 55 and under. If you're not very old and there's no reason for you to be dead, then we need to find out why.
You okay with the one jar?
We have one forensic pathologist, very lucky to have him, Manny Montez. He's worked in New York, the Chicago area, and Riverside.
The sheriff, Bill Brown, is the coroner, head of our office, and it's his office's job to investigate deaths in the community. The pathologist's responsibility in a coroner's office is only for cause of death. The manner of death is ruled on by the coroner or the detectives. My job is also to help them with cases or questions that they have. The focus of the investigation, however, in a coroner's office, as it's led by the detective, they will be in touch with law enforcement, they will be in touch with doctors, they will make the phone calls.
In our office, we have 4 detectives. They handle picking up the body, delivering the body to either here or a mortuary, conducting the rest of the investigation, getting medical records on those bodies, often contacting the next of kin.
You want to have them cremated, correct?
We immediately touch base with the families. Once we touch base with them, then they have a point of contact, the family, of who to ask questions to, who is going to handle their loved ones all the way till they get released to a mortuary. And as soon as we could get them released, the better off it is for the families.
Families come in unannounced quite often concerning the deaths of their loved ones, and they're hurting. So we bring them in, and we have a bereavement room here in the office with a couch, there's a table and chairs. You feel for each family. Anybody that sees another person in pain knows that the only way to help is soothe that pain, answer questions, just be straightforward with people so they can, get through what they're working through. We just assist the families in that way. And a lot of them are, they're hurt, especially a lot of the suicide cases or cases with suspicious deaths or when children die. Obviously, that's tougher times.
A lot of families have difficulties accepting death because it is the final. We do a really good job of saying, this is what it looks like, this is why. And 9 times out of 10, they're acceptable to it.
For a normal call-out situation, whether a crime has occurred or a very suspicious death where a criminal investigations division detective is getting involved, we will have a second report, the coroner report, and then ultimately, it comes down to the autopsy and to the toxicology reports. And then we'll share that information with the criminal investigations division, and then we'll put both together and hopefully come up with why the person died and how it happened.
At the conclusion of the hands-on autopsy, we have additional studies that we sometimes order, toxicology, microscopic examinations. Those tests will then be sent out. When all of the information has come back, that's when I make a determination as to what the cause of death is. If we're dealing with, say for example, a homicide, gunshot wounds or stabbings, it's a little more involved. In those particular cases, we're dealing with evidence, bullets that we may need to pull out, any other type of evidentiary findings that we can see in the body. And that's more of a detailed exam, really focusing on the report to make sure we're clear and concise for trial. My in-house team is essentially office staff, the detectives. They're the ones that go out and take jurisdiction over their individual cases. They do all the reports, all the investigations, speak to families, speak to doctors, get the medical records. I basically then take over the case once we come in here to do the exam. They've been an amazing group to work with, very knowledgeable, very dedicated. It's been fantastic. We have 2 on-call retired detectives who will come in and assist me at the autopsy table. I also consider the family, if you will, are the investigators, the police departments, the district attorneys. They're all welcome to their cases. It's an open door policy.
It's one of those divisions that a lot of people don't know about or they hear about, but until they need them or deal with them, you don't realize that they're there and what is done and what transpires daily in this office.